I'm Jennifer Pahlka. I am the founder and executive director of Code for America. We're most known for something called the Fellowship, and it's basically like a Peace Corps for geeks. Really talented developers, designers, product people take a year off and they come here and they work with city governments around the country. It is hard to work with government. I'm not going to tell anybody it isn't, but it's important to, and I think what people really need to get is that things are changing. They're changing for a number of reasons. The open data movement has created great opportunities to build businesses that leverage that open data and create value for consumers and for citizens. But also the leadership in government is changing. We're in the middle of a massive financial crisis in cities. So particularly at the local level, you have a political will for a new way of doing things that you've never had before. And that creates opportunities. You have CIOs in cities around the country that are looking for a different set of vendors. They know that it costs a lot less to get stuff done in the real world now than it does through the government contracting system and the government procurement systems. You can just call up City Hall, and that's what we're supposed to do as citizens. A great place to start is your city council person responsible for your neighborhood. That's how I started Code for America. I went and talked to my city council person. We're supposed to do that, and whether it's because we think something can work better, we have a product they think that they ought to use. Cities are adopting things like See, Click, Fix as a way to be able to report issues in their city much more easily. Oakland just adopted it. I think it really helps them with their understanding, where to put resources to fix things like potholes and streetlights that are out. But that is actually very much our role, whether it's just as a citizen activist or an entrepreneur. Certainly, that's what we've done, and I think there's a lot of resources available through Code for America if you're trying to be an open data activist or just a citizen activist. But it's also just, there are so many signals actually from our government that want our involvement, we just don't see them. It's really a matter of better communication. It's actually remarkably easy to find small projects that really blow the socks off people in government. You're not going to go in and replace all the back-end systems in city government. That's going to take a lot of time. But what you can do is you can go in and build something in 6 weeks that would have taken them 2 years, 3 years, and a couple $1 million. We had one project we did in 2.5 months with one guy. It was a really great platform that allowed parents in Boston to figure out which public schools their kids were eligible to attend. Took them 2.5 months. We were told if it had gone through regular channels, it would have taken 2 years and cost $2 million. Now, when you set the bar differently, you realize that there creates this opportunity for people to say, no, I'm not going to do it the other way now. Now it's unacceptable. And because we create, at least through the Fellowship, we create all our applications as open source, we're also providing people in government a way to take advantage of stuff they didn't have to build. They can just adapt it for their use. Yeah, there's a million ways to quote-unquote code for America, and some of them involve working with us and some of them involve doing lots of other things. The number one call I would make to people who read GigaOM would be to think about a business that serves the public sector. Don't be scared off by how terrifying it seems to work with government. It's hard, but it's changing, and we figured out a lot of ways through this. We're a tiny startup, and we've already contracted with 10 cities. That's 10 contracts that have actually gone through a procurement. If we could do it, and we didn't know what we were doing, you can do it too. But you can Code for America in your spare time. So anybody in any community around the country should be able to think about, what does my city need in terms of civic apps? Do I need a transit app? Would it help if we had a little walking tour of the public art in our cities on our smartphones? What are the things that we can do to make our cities work better and be better places to live that involve applications and using data that you can get from your city? If you're interested in just doing that in your spare time, go to our Brigade site. It's codeforamerica.org/brigade, and we'll hook you up with other people in your community that want to do the same thing and give you advice about how to get data open and how to reuse one fantastic civic apps for your city. But it doesn't have to be through Code for America. The CTO and CIO of the United States have launched this amazing Presidential Fellows program where you can work on fantastic stuff at the federal level. It's modeled after Code for America. It's maybe even more of a commitment in some ways because you have to move to DC to do it. But you can do fantastic stuff there, and those guys are true leaders in this movement. But anybody who wants to just act like a citizen is actually helping this movement. We think of ourselves as consumers. We think of ourselves as entrepreneurs. Let's also think of ourselves as actually active participants in this system we call government, instead of just always pushing it away. That might mean going to a planning meeting. That might mean picking up garbage on the street. That might be going to the CIO of your city and asking him or her to open up your data and make it available on a data portal. There's all these ways I think people are waking up to the fact that we can't ignore government. And it's kind of broken, but we can fix it if we get involved. And that might mean millions of things to millions of different people. The point is, whatever you think you're going to do, just do it. Don't overthink it, just do it.